This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by the good folks over at ease.com, California's top one-stop website for legal marijuana delivery. With August winding down as it is, you want to make sure you squeeze every last bit of enjoyment out of your summer that's to be had. You don't want to waste time driving to your favorite local dispensary to restock up on legal marijuana products that are properly tested, packaged, and labeled when you don't have to. That's what ease.com is for. Just open up ease.com, assuming that you live in a part of California where they're active and that it's during legal delivery hours, and just start browsing. You'll find a huge variety of different ways to consume cannabis and lots of options within those categories over at ease.com. Whether you like flower or concentrates, edibles or topicals, ease.com has you covered. Find out for yourself just how easy legal California marijuana products can be had over at ease.com, which is spelled E-A-Z-E. Big thanks to everyone over at Ease for the support that makes today's news possible. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Friday, August 10th, 2018, and you're tuned in to episode 547 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Our top story as we wind down the work week starts us off in Michigan, where on Wednesday, a spokesperson for the State Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs told a reporter with Marijuana Business Daily that the state would not be extending a September 15th deadline for cannabis businesses to receive licensing or to shut down, despite the fact that it's widely believed that there are not yet enough licensed businesses to prevent wide-scale disruptions in medical marijuana supply. That September 15th deadline has already been pushed back from June 15th, when there were 0 licensed cannabis businesses in the state. As it stands today, just 16 medical marijuana business licenses have been issued in Michigan. Under state law, if an existing medical marijuana business still awaiting licensing does not shut down on September 15th, it risks being disqualified for official license. Tom Angel over at Marijuana Moments has our second top story on this fine Friday with his pickup of a new report just issued in Denver, highlighting some of the progress the city's made in regulating the legal marijuana industry that's been around since 2014. The progress report was written and released by the Office of Denver Mayor Michael Hancock, who originally opposed the idea of adult use legalization when it was brought up for a vote in 2012, but who now says his city has been able to successfully regulate it. Swing over to Tom's piece on Forbes for the full dive in on this one, including some year-to-year sales figures for in-city cannabis sales. According to their numbers, Denver cannabis shops saw $584 million in sales flow through their doors in 2017, or around 1/3 of the state's total. For its progressive tolerance, city coffers are projected to be enriched this year by over $48 million in taxes. Again, pop over to Tom's story for more on this one. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com and on our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily. Wrapping up today's top stories brings us out to the Bay State, where the executive director of the Massachusetts Cannabis Control Commission said yesterday that the state's first licensed testing labs could soon be announced. Sean Collins, executive director of the commission overseeing Massachusetts' transition to legal adult use marijuana, said yesterday that he is quote unquote relatively confident that at least one of the 2 testing lab applicants will get the green light at the next commission meeting to be held on August 23rd. That's important because state law requires all adult use cannabis to be certified by a licensed testing lab. In all, 19 provisional licenses have been given out in Massachusetts, including 7 that were just issued yesterday. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out in headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, ease.com, California's top one-stop website for legal marijuana delivery. Ease.com is, of course, where you can turn when you want properly tested, packaged, and labeled California legal marijuana products, but it's also a heck of a good place to learn more about cannabis and the market that's evolving out of its transition to full legality. Ease just put out its new Insights report, which dives into the high costs of illegal cannabis. Ease tapped into their very large customer base with some smart surveys and compiled the results into a super handy and valuable guide that should be on your list of things to track down and read today. As dynamic as today's legal marijuana industry is, you can't afford to get left behind when it comes to knowing the lay of the land, market and consumer-wise. Arm yourself with all the things you need to know by opening up eaze.com, spelled E-A-Z-E, and looking for their new Insights reporting focused on the high cost of illegal marijuana. And then you can place your own order for legal California cannabis that will be brought right to your door in less than an hour. One more time, that's eaze.com. All right, time for the Blitz. In New Jersey, more than 800 people attended a meeting held in the state capital of Trenton to learn more about the process of applying for one of the 6 new medical marijuana business licenses that state officials announced would be given out this year. That would double the number of open and licensed medical marijuana dispensaries, which collectively serve around 28,000 registered patients. Chris Roberts over at Marijuana Moment has a good story up about the announcement dropped on Wednesday by Washington state marijuana regulators that they are open to changing the rules for how legal marijuana is tested, packaged, and sold. The Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board said in its announcement that it had received a number of complaints from both the adult use and medical sides of the industry over issues like testing and availability, and welcomed the public to submit comments on a number of topics. So go over to Chris's story for all the details and for the email address where you can send your own thoughts and ideas. The North Dakota Department of Health just issued a status update on its implementation of the medical marijuana program passed by voters in 2016 that says it will not likely be up and running until next year, not later this year as it had originally hoped. The DOH said that delays in the licensing of cultivation and processing facilities are the main cause of the setback. A new survey out of Canada finds that 14% of respondents had knowingly driven a car within 2 hours of consuming cannabis. The survey was conducted by government agency Statistics Canada and also found that just under 16% of Canadians 15 years and older had used marijuana sometime in the previous 3 months. The survey was conducted by government agency Statistics Canada and also found that just under 16% of Canadians 15 years and up had used marijuana sometime in the previous 3 months. Continuing along the general storyline of driving after consuming cannabis, the Denver Post has a story up about efforts in Colorado to better quantify the actual changes that adult use legalization has had on the safety of the state's car drivers and passengers. A new report issued by the Colorado Division of Criminal Justice found that just under 3/4 of the 4,000 drivers charged with driving under the influence in 2016 had THC metabolites in their system, but also admitted that the system under which that data was collected was plagued with inconsistent testing protocols. If anything, the new report highlights how much we don't know about the actual impacts of legal cannabis on road safety. Worth reading in full. Florida state marijuana officials just announced that they would be holding a public hearing on August 17th to accept public input on the process by which they will issue 5 new medical marijuana business licenses. Things are a little chaotic right now in Florida's medical marijuana scene as a recent court decision seemingly threw out many of the limitations that have been put on the program by state lawmakers, though there's still plenty to work out before any real on-the-ground changes land. And finally for today and for the week, we wrap on a positive note as Dan Adams over at the Boston Globe shared a really awesome 30-second ad released yesterday by the Massachusetts Cannabis Control Commission and the State Department of Health that seeks to raise awareness about legal marijuana. It's so refreshingly normal that I have to admit it got me a little misty, but that's really just me. The new ad explains that marijuana is now legal in Massachusetts for adults of age to buy, own, and use, and dives into some of the detailed rules for how to stay on the right side of the law. Make sure to open this one up, if only to see how marijuana-related public awareness campaigns should be done. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Eaze, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the lesser ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.